Kody Brown completely lost control on camera, and what happened next may be one of the most revealing moments in Sister Wives history. In less than half a minute, Kody repeated the same phrase over and over again, "Doesn't know Jack." Not once, not twice, 8 times, and with every repetition, something deeper slipped out. This wasn't confidence. This wasn't clarity. This was fear showing itself in real time. Because the man Kody was attacking wasn't just anyone. It was David Woolley, the man who married Christine and quietly succeeded at everything Kody failed at for 25 years. A healthy relationship, clear boundaries, mutual respect, emotional stability. And Kody knows it. That's why this rant feels so frantic, so contradictory, so unhinged. It isn't about David misunderstanding polygamy. It's about David understanding Kody far too well. Kody tries to establish authority by saying he lived plural marriage while David only observed it from the outside. But within seconds, his argument collapses under its own weight. Kody admits that after decades of living this lifestyle, he still doesn't understand it. He openly says he doesn't know Jack. And yet somehow, David, the man who watched the damage, saw the manipulation, and recognized the harm, is the ignorant one. According to Kody, his failure makes him an expert, while David's clarity disqualifies him. It's the logic of a man desperately trying to protect a collapsing narrative. What Kody is really saying beneath the word salad is this: David saw through me. And I can't allow that to stand. Because if David can accurately identify the problem from the outside, then Kody's entire defense falls apart. The idea that plural marriage was the issue disappears. The excuse vanishes. What's left is Kody himself. The repetition gives it away. Saying doesn't know Jack 8 times in 30 seconds isn't an argument, it's panic. When people repeat the same phrase again and again, they aren't trying to convince others. They're trying to convince themselves. Kody is chanting the phrase like a mantra, hoping that repetition will turn denial into truth. But reality doesn't work that way. No matter how many times he says it, David's observations remain accurate. Then comes the most damaging contradiction of all. Kody admits that after 30 years, he still doesn't understand plural marriage. But if that's true, why should anyone listen to him at all? Why does his experience matter if it taught him nothing? He wants the authority of experience without the accountability of failure. He wants to be both the expert and the confused victim. And you can't be both. Kody reframes David's perspective as mere curiosity, as if David was casually looking into polygamy instead of witnessing Christine's pain up close. But David wasn't judging a lifestyle. He was judging behavior. He saw neglect. He saw control. He saw boundaries being violated. And Kody knows that's the real issue, which is why he keeps shifting the focus away from actions and toward ideology. If the argument is about polygamy, Kody can debate endlessly. If it's about how he treated Christine, he loses immediately. When Kody dismisses David as just being angry, it exposes something even darker. David isn't angry in the way Kody implies. He's protective. He saw someone he loves being harmed, and he responded the way a healthy partner does. Kody doesn't recognize that emotion because he's never expressed it himself. So he labels it irrational. He calls it misunderstanding. But it's neither. It's love in action, something Kody has never demonstrated. The projection is obvious. Kody accuses David of thinking he knows everything, when Kody is the one who spent decades lecturing his wives, positioning himself as the authority, the patriarch, the man with all the answers. David never claimed expertise. He made specific observations about specific behaviors. Those don't require living polygamy. They require basic emotional intelligence. And David has that. Kody doesn't. This rant didn't defend Kody. It exposed him. The repetition made him look unstable. The contradictions destroyed his credibility. And the defensiveness confirmed everything David said about him. Kody made it all about himself, his experience, his feelings, his need to be right, while never once addressing the actual harm he caused. And that's the pattern. It's the same logic he uses with his children. You can't judge me because you don't understand my intentions. But people don't need access to your intentions to judge your actions. They judge the damage. And the damage is undeniable. What we're seeing here isn't just a man lashing out. It's a man watching his control disappear. His wives have moved on. His children have stepped away. And now another man has entered the picture who represents everything Kody pretended to be but never was. That kind of comparison is unbearable for someone built on ego instead of accountability. This moment marks something important. For years, Kody controlled the narrative. But now the truth is surfacing from every direction. Christine is thriving. Yanel has peace. Mary has freedom. And David Woolley stands there calmly, not ranting, not spiraling, simply living proof that the problem was never plural marriage. The problem was Kody. Kody's meltdown wasn't strength. It was collapse. It was the sound of a man realizing that no amount of repetition, no amount of deflection, no amount of word salad can stop people from seeing what's right in front of them. One man understands relationships, respect, and boundaries. The other understands only how to protect his ego when confronted with truth. And after that rant, it's painfully clear which one actually knows Jack. Kody Brown didn't just get angry on camera, he completely unraveled. In a matter of seconds, the mask slipped, and what came out wasn't logic or confidence. It was raw panic. Over and over again, Kody clung to one phrase as if his entire identity depended on it. And the more he repeated it, the clearer it became. This wasn't about David Woolley misunderstanding anything. This was about Kody being terrified of being understood. Because David Woolley represents something Kody cannot tolerate: proof. Proof that Christine was never the problem. Proof that the chaos, the emotional damage, and the breakdown of the family weren't caused by plural marriage itself, but by the man who claimed to lead it. David didn't need to live inside Kody's world to see that. He only needed to watch it from the outside with clear eyes. Kody tried to position himself as the authority, leaning on years of experience as if time alone creates wisdom. But almost immediately, his argument collapsed. He openly admitted that despite decades of living this lifestyle, he still doesn't fully understand it. That single admission destroys everything he was trying to defend. If living it for that long didn't lead to understanding, then experience isn't authority, it's evidence of failure. And that's where the desperation kicks in. Kody wants his ignorance to count as expertise, while dismissing David's clarity as ignorance. He wants to win the argument without ever addressing the behavior being criticized. Because the moment the conversation shifts from abstract ideas to specific actions, neglect, control, boundary violations, Kody loses completely. What we're watching isn't a debate. It's a man trying to protect a collapsing story. The repetition, the circular reasoning, the contradictions, none of it is accidental. When people feel exposed, they don't explain. They deflect. David didn't attack a belief system. He didn't wage war on a lifestyle. He simply looked at how Christine was treated and named it for what it was. And Kody cannot respond to that truth directly, so he attacks David's right to speak instead. If David can't speak, then Kody doesn't have to listen. But that tactic isn't working anymore. Viewers aren't confused. They're seeing exactly what David saw. A man spiraling because someone finally said out loud what Kody spent decades trying to hide. And this meltdown is only the beginning of what happens when control slips and the truth refuses to stay quiet. As the rant continues, Kody's mask doesn't just slip, it shatters. The more he talks, the more obvious it becomes that he isn't arguing a point. He's defending himself from a truth he can't face. Every sentence circles back to the same place. You can't judge me. And that alone tells you everything. Kody insists that only someone who lived inside his world has the right to analyze it. But that argument collapses the moment you think about it for more than 2 seconds. People trapped inside dysfunction normalize it. They justify it. They excuse it. It's the people on the outside who see patterns clearly. And David saw those patterns instantly. Not because he's an expert in polygamy, but because he understands basic human behavior. That's what terrifies Kody. David didn't need years of participation to recognize manipulation. He didn't need a rulebook to see boundaries being crossed. He didn't need ideology to identify harm. He just watched how Christine was treated, and that was enough. Kody can't argue with that, because it's visible. It's undeniable. And it's backed up by outcomes. Christine didn't just leave. She healed. She didn't just move on. She transformed. And standing next to David, she looks lighter, stronger, calmer. That contrast is Kody's worst nightmare, because it proves something Kody spent decades denying, that the environment he created was damaging, and the moment she escaped it, she thrived. Instead of reflecting, Kody lashes out. He reframes. He minimizes. He tries to turn specific criticism into abstract debate. He labels clarity as anger and accountability as misunderstanding. But those tricks don't land anymore. They sound hollow, and the audience can feel it. What makes this moment especially revealing is how personal it is for Kody. This isn't about philosophy. This isn't about religion. This is about comparison. David is everything Kody claimed to be: steady, respectful, emotionally present. And Kody knows he can't compete with that reality, so he tries to disqualify David entirely. But here's the problem. You don't get to erase someone just because they see you clearly. You don't get to silence criticism just because it makes you uncomfortable. And you don't get to call yourself the authority while admitting you never understood what you were doing. This rant doesn't make Kody look misunderstood. It makes him look exposed. The repetition, the defensiveness, the refusal to address the actual harm. It all paints the same picture. A man who cannot tolerate accountability and panics when control slips out of his hands. David didn't raise his voice. He didn't spiral. He didn't repeat himself. He simply stood firm, protected his partner, and named behavior that shouldn't be defended. And that calm certainty is exactly why Kody fell apart. Because when someone doesn't need to shout to be right, it forces everyone else to listen. And Kody knows the louder he gets, the more obvious it becomes that his not winning, his unraveling. This wasn't a moment of strength. It was a moment of collapse. A man watching his old excuses stop working. Watching people believe what they see instead of what he says. Watching the story he controlled for years finally turn against him. And no matter how many times he repeats the same phrase, no matter how hard he tries to gatekeep reality, the truth remains unchanged. One man understands respect, boundaries, and partnership. The other understands only how to deflect when confronted with them. And that's why this meltdown didn't damage David at all. It only confirmed everything he said. What makes this moment even more disturbing is what it reveals about Kody's pattern, not just with David, but with everyone who has ever challenged him. This meltdown wasn't new behavior. It was familiar. It was the same reaction his wives experienced for years, now captured clearly on camera for everyone to see. Whenever Kody is questioned, he doesn't reflect, he reframes. He doesn't listen, he lectures. He doesn't accept responsibility, he changes the rules of who is allowed to judge him. And the rule is always the same: if you disagree with Kody, you don't understand. That way, he never has to ask the most dangerous question of all: what if they're right? This is why the rant feels so chaotic. Kody isn't just arguing with David. He's arguing with reality. He's fighting against years of evidence piling up. Failed marriages, distant children, women who left and immediately found peace. That kind of pattern can't be explained away forever. And Kody knows it. What truly broke him here is that David doesn't need to convince anyone of anything. David doesn't chase validation. He doesn't need to win arguments. He simply exists, calm, grounded, stable, and that alone dismantles Kody's narrative. Because Kody built his identity on the idea that he was the center, the leader, the one holding everything together. And now the evidence shows the opposite. The moment Christine left, the chaos stopped following her. It stayed with Kody, and David became the clearest proof of that. A man who didn't raise his voice, didn't dominate conversations, didn't demand loyalty. He just showed up, consistently, and treated Christine like a human being. That contrast is devastating for someone like Kody. This rant also explains why Kody's relationships with his children collapsed. He uses the same defense every time. You don't know my intentions. But intentions don't heal wounds. Actions do. And his children didn't judge him based on what he meant. They judged him based on how it felt to grow up under his control. Just like David judged him based on what he saw happen to Christine. Kody can't stand that kind of judgment because it can't be argued away. You can't debate someone out of their lived experience. You can't explain away harm by insisting you meant well. And so Kody does the only thing he knows how to do. He attacks the credibility of the person pointing it out. But here's the truth Kody keeps running from. Outside perspective is often the clearest perspective. People inside dysfunction normalize it. They excuse it. They adapt to survive. But someone standing outside sees patterns without emotional fog. David wasn't blinded by loyalty to Kody. He wasn't invested in protecting Kody's image. He was invested in protecting Christine. And that's why this moment matters. Because it shows the difference between control and care. Kody wants control, of the narrative, of the family, of how people perceive him. David shows care, through boundaries, consistency, and respect. One demands loyalty. The other earns trust. Kody's rant didn't scare people away from David. It pushed them toward him. Because viewers can feel the difference between someone defending ego and someone standing in truth. The louder Kody got, the smaller he looked. The calmer David stayed, the stronger he appeared. This is what collapse look